Okay. Hi, everyone. We're back, and today I'm talking with Nefertiti Porter. Hi, Nefertiti.
Hey.
Hey, thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
Great. So I'm going to read a little bio for Nefertiti, and then we'll start talking. We'll start chatting. Okay. Nefertiti Porter is a Portland native with a background in music and artistic endeavors. Growing up, she experienced the paranormal as young as 3 years old. In her first experience, she remembers being struck by lightning. Wow. and you can say that was the catalyst for her hero's journey. I would imagine so. Currently, she is a newly discovered medium studying trans-mediumship and mental mediumship. She is also a magical practitioner as attuned to Reiki level 2. You can find her and her magical and new age products and services at her website, Minerva's Closet, almost in completion. Okay. So, yeah, I've known you for a while now. It's what, 3 years, about 3 years, right?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah. So I know that you're very gifted and very talented. So, yeah, I already know that. Okay. So yeah, I would love to hear about being struck by lightning. Oh my gosh, at the age of 3. Do you remember it? I guess since you're talking about it, you might. If you could just share a little bit about that.
For sure. It's basically one of my first memories. It's probably the furthest back I can go in my memorable experiences. Basically, me and my mom were staying at, a few years after I was born, me and my mom were staying at my grandmother's house, but my grandmother and grandfather had passed away a long time ago. I actually never met them, but they had a farm in Mississippi, in Jackson, Mississippi, out in some rural land. And yeah, my mom grew on their farm and basically was like taking care of their house and stuff out there. And I just remember there would be, Mississippi, it's kind of like one of those areas that can get a lot of lightning storms and stuff in the summer. So I don't know if a lot of people know that, but like certain areas down south, like Florida and Mississippi, get a lot of are prone to like a lot of electronic activity in the skies. But yeah, basically what I remember it is I was wanting to make a peanut butter sandwich, and so I basically walked into the kitchen and the window was open. All of the TV and stuff, computers and electronics were off, but the window was open, and we had like silverware, and I went to get a butter knife, and I just remember putting the bread on the sink, and I was putting the peanut butter on it, and I looked out the window, and I don't remember seeing the lightning when it came in. I just remember it striking my hand that had the knife in it. And so much force that it was a butter knife, mind you. It flew out of my hand and into the floor, like immediately, and it stuck there. But it was also stuck in my foot in the floor.
Oh.
And so I had to suffer from this for a few years, and I had like webbed toes, because of the scar tissue that grew there. It was totally weird, and that was like my reminder of what had happened. But I just remember laying on the floor. I couldn't move because this butter knife nailed my foot into the floor, and my mom had to come over and pull it out and come console me. But yeah, I had a scar for years, and basically it turned, this lightning strike just came. I just at the opportune moment, I was holding this conductive apparatus, and it just made it fly out of my hand. So it was really weird scenario.
Yeah, totally. So, wow, that's crazy. I've heard Daniel Brinkley. Do you know who he is? He wrote a book on his near-death experience. He's written quite a few books. And anyway, he was struck by lightning, and that's what caused his near-death experience, his first one. And he was inside, but he was on the telephone.
Oh.
Yeah. So I wonder if I'd love to see statistics on when people are struck by lightning. Is it more indoors or outdoors,
Right.
But anyway, that is crazy. So can you share with us then maybe a little bit about how I mean, at 3, you don't really know. I don't know. Maybe you know, maybe you did know how the lightning strike perhaps maybe led you into, I forgot the words you used, but to help you on your journey. Yeah, yeah, there you go. Can you share with that? Share that with us. Thanks.
For sure. I just felt like it was a string of paranormal experiences and synchronicities that happened when I was a kid. Also, in this house, there was a ghost. It was haunted. There was actually, okay, so basically, my mother wasn't the only person that had lived in that house after my grandfather and grandmother died. Also, there was a man that had rented the house, and he was an elderly gentleman, but he had died years ago, and he loved to cook. And so everybody used to say that this house is haunted. He would come down in the middle of the night, and the way you knew who was there, he would leave the gas burner on. He would leave the stove burner on. And there was one night that I don't remember this one very well, but my mom kept reiterating to me, this was like one of the things that happened, is that I went downstairs, I was sleepwalking. And this is another thing I used to do a lot when I was a kid, really when I was a baby and growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sleepwalking one night, and I went down into the kitchen, and I started screaming hysterically, and my mom came down there, and the stove burner was on. So she knew that it was probably him, probably walking around the house, that had startled me. But yeah, there was quite a few experiences that happened. I feel like that was like one of those catalyst type of experiences, like right place, right time. But that was like a first of many where before I had the ability to discover this information and read about it, because it's not information that's taught in your schools, what the metaphysical dimensions and stuff like that. I remember having sleep paralysis, and I would sleepwalk all the time and talk in my sleep. And sometimes it was scary. I encountered a lot of different weird things. And then at one point, growing up, I was into, I just remember I used to really be into daydreaming a lot, and also believing that my dolls were alive. And I would swear that they would move when I was gone,
I can relate.
Really into that stuff. I was just so into that, believing that these things are not just there, like they are alive, and then, growing up, keeping, even, I used to play with little kids even as an adolescent, and I was always told constantly, I play too much, I believe in the fairy tales too much, and stuff like that. And I did not have, growing up, I didn't have very many friends my own age. A lot of my friends were little kids or people younger than me, which was like, I can see why now, because they still believed and had a lot of energy and just wonder. And I still believed in that stuff, in those fairy tales and stuff like that, just based upon the experiences that I had. And then it just led to the sleep paralysis, ended up turning into astral projection, which I had a couple of experiences that were profound in even when I was grown up, that there still is no information taught to me in school. I had to go seek it out myself, and eventually got confirmation of, oh, this is what's been happening to me the whole time. And I just thought, I never really told anybody, because I thought everybody would think I'm crazy. I was already weird enough as it is. So I didn't need to give anybody else any more reasons to say I was an outcast. But yeah, I basically led a life of struggle. We moved around a lot, moved around like every 2 years or so. Mostly everybody used to ask me if I was a military brat. No, my mom just, whenever situations didn't change, she would move in order to make a change. And there was a lot of struggle within that, because being the new kid and being weird or fringe and believing in these fringe ideas, or not being, as you're growing up in maybe a different environment, there might be like, if you're not a certain religion or something. I was just raised non-denomination, so that could have been another reason why I was, I don't have people might have thought I was like an atheist or something, but I mostly always believed in a higher power. But I didn't really have any limits to it. I mean, I also believe that, maybe someone could fly on a magic carpet. I don't know. I can't prove that, you know?
Hey, Nefertiti, before we continue, let's share a little bit about sleep paralysis, because I know that I've shared with you, I'm sure in the groups and stuff, and that I suffered from that too. And it took me a while to understand what it is. So it's my understanding, and you can share what your understanding is that we have, if for people who may not know what it is, because it's very scary, and I think it's helpful for people to understand it, right? That when we go to sleep, we have this physical mechanism or protection that puts us in a state of paralysis when we're in the REM state normally, and so that we don't act out our dreams. And sometimes we can wake up every once in a while, especially when we're waking up or we're becoming conscious to other realities. We can wake up during that state, that paralysis state, and we can't move, and our mind is awake, and we think, and we're paralyzed basically, and we don't understand what's going on, right? And it's super scary. And I try to scream out, and I see or feel beings in the room, maybe see beings, feel someone sit on this bed next to me, yeah, or feel someone on top of my chest, which I realized was my astral body moving around. Or there might be guys, and there's always spirit around us anyway, so we might just be seeing what's around us, right? So would you agree with that, or do you have or could you share what you feel it is or know it to be?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely would get, the experiences of like screaming, help, help, help me. And these continued as I was a little kid. I think like the first time I had sleep paralysis that I remember was like 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But they would be followed by they'd be preceded by nightmares. So it would just be like kind of like a scary situation to be in, because it would be like I'm already having a nightmare, and I think that's what jolted me to get
Right.
the terror to get out of there. It's so strong that I couldn't even wait until I got back in my body. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I gotta get out of here now.
Yeah.
As okay, so as it was scary at first growing up as an adolescent, because it would happen when I was 8, 10 years old, 12 years old. The thing is, also in life there was a lot of traumas going on as well, so I think it was like carrying over into the astral world. The
Mm-hmm.
most profound time that I had was basically happened in the backseat of a car. I was Me, my mom, and my sister were driving across country, and we had driven across the states and stuff, and would take turns driving. And I had driven all night, so my mom had taken a turn to. It was her shift to drive, and we were driving. We'd be in a new town like every 8 to 12 hours. So I woke up, and I could hear we were still in the car. I could hear that we were driving. I could hear my mom and my sister having a conversation. And so I was ready to get up and ask, what town are we in? I'm excited, like, how close are we to our destination? And upon doing that, I'm just getting up like, hey, mom, hey, sis, what's going on? Where are we? And no one could hear me. And I'm like, okay, now,
Yeah.
hey, what's going on? I say it louder, and no one can hear me. That's when I knew, oh, this has happened before. It's happening again. Oh my gosh, no. Because if you feel like somewhat like you're dying, it could feel like a lot of pressure in your chest, and it could feel hard to breathe
Mm-hmm.
because of a lot of physical things that are happening. But this time I was angry. I was like, I'm tired. I've never found a solution to this. No one can tell me what's going on. I am tired of being a prisoner in my own body. And so I was screaming, help, help, help. And I couldn't move, and they couldn't hear me, and I'm screaming. And then I started to notice that I could see everything, but it was really foggy, kind of like a dream sequence in a movie. But I noticed I was seeing through my eyelids, because I could see my veins over my eyes. And I'm like, holy crap, now this is the first
Yeah.
time that that's happened, where I
Yeah.
could notice that,
See
okay,
your
I'm
eyes.
seeing
Yeah.
through something.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go and I was like, I lay back down, and then I'm like, I leaned up again really hard, and I'm so angry, and I'm just ready to get out. Like, I want to just rattle this cage. And I reached forward with all my might, and my hand came forward on my sister's, the back of her passenger seat. And I go to shake it. I'm just going to shake it. I'm going to like let her know she's going to hear this. and it goes through the seat. My hand goes through the seat. I saw my whole hand go through this solid object. And I did it like 5 different times. And then at that time, I'm like, whoa. And I look at my hand and it was see-through, but it was like an exact copy. If you were like someone that was into anatomy, it was everything there, except it was like your vision becomes microscopic. I
Mm-hmm.
could literally see that my blood was blue and I had my blood cells were pumping with my pulse, with my
Wow.
heartbeat. It
Wow.
was incredible. And also my skin, I could see my skin tone, but it was translucent and it was
Mm-hmm.
more darker and condensed on the outer like silhouette of my hand. But towards the inner, it got clearer and clearer. It was like brown, translucent, cellophane paper or something. I could see the cells and I could see these microorganisms like floating around. And I'm just looking at my hands like, and then I look at the like my chest and I could see the same thing, all of these veins and capillaries, and everything was blue, and I could see these infinitesimally small, microscopic cells. I can see them moving, and I was blown. I was speechless. I mean, like, what can you say to that?
What do you
So
say?
at
Yeah.
that point, I was just like, okay, I guess I'll accept this. And then I laid back down, and eventually I did. I think within 2 minutes I woke up and I was able to. I was like, y'all didn't hear any of that? And they're like, huh? What are you talking about? And it's like, oh, never mind. There's another
Wow.
chronicle of.
Wow, that is crazy. So you basically woke up in your second body, I guess, what you would call it, second body, your astral body, energetic body. And yeah, didn't know that you had woken up in your second body rather than your physical body, and your physical body was still sleeping on the seat. That's nuts. I had an experience where I was in an astral projection and we, we're both projectors, so we know this about each other, where I was inside my body and I was seeing something, I was seeing little cells moving around and just, I mean, it was just crazy the way they were moving around, and everything was moving around so fast, and I could see them working and but I didn't realize I was in my body. It took me I don't know, a minute or two. I don't know. How do you process time there? But I realized, oh my gosh, I'm looking at my cells within my body. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And I remember thinking, this is beautiful. It was gorgeous to me. It was the way they were, it was like a piece of art, you know what I mean? As I was watching what my body was doing, everything that goes on in our holographic body. But that's amazing. I've heard from being a medium as well, from spirit, that when people die sometimes and they don't realize that they've died right away, that's what they can go through, is trying to get people's attention, not knowing that they've actually physically left their body. So yeah, that can be kind of scary for sure. Yeah. That would be the ultimate astral projection.
Yeah, for sure.
That is nuts. That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a game changer because after that, I was obsessed. I was like, I didn't tell my mom, my sister, Phil. I know they probably would have brushed it off, but they always do. My mom used to call me, she used to say I was an airhead, not in a bad way, but like I would just daydream and be out in the space all the time. And so they always thought of me as the airhead, so I didn't want to have another story for them to add to that. So I didn't tell them. I did say, hey, I was screaming out, and they didn't understand it. But after that, I was obsessed with it. I became obsessed with it. And I'm glad I did, because I found out a lot of information, and that obsession with finding out what is this that happened to me, because I know it happened. It was real. I know it was real. I saw everything, and I wasn't, a lot of people, they get told that, oh, you're making it up. There's no way you could say that. In your heart, when it's like, okay, people can say that all they want, but I'm going to find the right people to talk to that aren't going to say that, because I know this is happening to other people, and I'm going to read as many books about it as I can. And so it started a lot of synchronistic happenings where I started seeing a lot of artwork that reflected the astral body, like Alex Gray. You know,
Mm-hmm.
for the first time I saw his drawings, I'm like, that's what it looked like.
Yes, yes, totally.
I'm like, he knows. There's probably a lot of people that make that visionary art. And I see it a lot where this is what it looks like. They know, they've been there, you know. So it's good to have that. And, you know, I would say that if it happens to anybody out there that, yes, this happens very often. And unfortunately, there's been a taboo put on discussing this information. So you're not going to find a lot of people that maybe are open to talk about it. But if you study it, you will find those people. If you
Yeah.
just know in your heart that this is real, this isn't like something that you can necessarily scientifically, although maybe probably now, prove, you know, we might not have the instruments to measure what the astral body, what the weight of the astral body is or anything like that. But we don't need that in order to know that this is real, because based on your experiences, they don't lie to you, you know.
Right.
So yeah, it was
Yeah,
a catalyst
totally.
for my studies, for studying the metaphysical world. So the first thing I got into was sleep paralysis, learning all about that, learning about astral projection and astral traveling, learning about hypnosis and sleepwalking. All of that stuff became really interesting to me, and I feel like that has stayed with me since. And I think that event was I had a lot of events leading up to that, but didn't necessarily wasn't I guess wise enough to know that yes, this is real. It's keeping telling you this is why it keeps happening. This is a real part of your life. I might not have believed it before because I kept trying to believe that, oh, this type of stuff doesn't happen. If this hasn't happened to everybody else that you know, then it doesn't exist. But
Right.
that happened at that point in my life, I knew, and it definitely made me wanting to prove to myself that yes, you are real, and these things are real that are happening to you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good, definitely, because a lot of people don't talk about it. They don't, because they're, like you said, they're afraid of being labeled as crazy, goofy, whatever. And I can relate to the sleepwalking thing, and because I sleepwalked as a child, I was a sleepwalker. And what I've noticed in this world of astral projection and in this world period that we live in, this metaphysical actually, I kind of think the metaphysical world or the weirdo world is the new normal. And, and people who aren't, waking up to this strange, amazing world are the weirdos now. Anyway, no judgment on anybody, but yeah, that's kind of how I see it. But anyway, so it was sleepwalking. I believe that, and with spontaneous projections and things like that, sleep paralysis, I've noticed that people who have suffered trauma or experienced trauma as a child seem to be the ones most prone for it to happen spontaneously, and it seems easier for them to be able to leave their body even without trying. Would you agree with that?
I agree, because in my own life, what was happening in my family come from a broken family where there was abuse going on with my stepfather, the very bad person, was inflicting abuse, a very bad spirit, just in general, was inflicting a lot of abuse upon my mother and me. And then my little sister had to suffer watching us go through this.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just terrible, and there was no escape because I was bullied at school as well, because I was a new kid, I was poor, I was weird, I didn't have any religion, all of this stuff. I went to Muslim and Christian school. I was just an outcast in every single group I could even imagine. I think everywhere I did make friends, we were all the misfits. It was all the misfits, and I couldn't be more comfortable, man. I am thankful for that, because it has made me my own person. It has made me stubborn about my beliefs. Like when it makes you not wanting approval, and that protects you from being influenced by, or being closing your real self off for
Totally.
acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it was definitely hard growing up, and that I felt like I wanted to get out of that. I wish I wasn't born into that family, sometimes, because of everything horrible that was going on. I felt like my body, my true self wanted to go out and explore other worlds, and I think
Yeah.
that's why these things happen. But yeah, I definitely think I was looking for an escape from that situation.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah. So why don't you share with us, Nefertiti? I mean, I could talk about projection and out of body experiences all day, every day,
I
you know?
know.
Right, yeah. But why don't you share a little bit, if you would, about your magical practice. I think that maybe helping people who are new to this world, understanding, exactly what magic is all about, and the difference between white magic, black magic, whatever you want to call it. I guess it would, the way I see it is, it depends on the person, and it depends on what you want to bring in, right? Just like with everything else,
Absolutely.
correct?
Right.
Your intention. Yeah.
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 I mostly do I protective and white magic because I'm the type of person that, well, it's kind of aligned to my principles because I'm more try to be service to others. And I don't, I, as a kid, when you get in trouble, what you put out does come back to you right away. I've
Mhm.
not ever been a person that's been able to get away with anything bad. I don't know.
Me
I guess
either.
God
Yeah.
was like, you are not going to be a bad person if it kills you. You're going to be a good person, whether you like it or not. And so whenever I remember as a kid, if I would steal or lie, oh, immediately. And it was like other kids could get away with it for years and I would get in trouble right then and there. But that's kind of like made my mentality like, no, you just can't. You might as well just do it right and get on the right side. But yeah, I've always been someone that is about do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Don't put anything out that you wouldn't want to come back because this relationship with our reality is symbiotic. We're not in a vacuum. We are all relating to each other, and
Mm-hmm.
we waste your energy on something that's not productive. Why
Mm-hmm.
waste your energy on anything that's negative? Some other magical practitioners might have a different point of view, and I respect them for that. They can have that because they might have different past life experiences that they are
Mm-hmm.
trying to fulfill, that they have to fulfill. And so I do respect everybody's experiences. I just know that anyone that is aligned with benevolence, be mindful of what you put out and having being in the, you don't have to call yourself like a white witch or anything, but being aligned with putting out energy that is benevolent and helping because we need that so much in this reality right now. And I find it is more fulfilling. But like
Sure.
for a lot of the magical practices that I do, I kind of was born into it without being taught anything. On my mom and dad's side, there is a weird lineage. I know on my mom's side, where a lot of us are psychic and stuff. Or like even through my grandmother, she was like a herbal wise woman. She was a nurse as well, but she was also like a herbal woman and stuff. And a lot of traditions in my family go back to like the Orishas and hoodoo,
Mm-hmm.
which is like that southern form of like it involves like I guess a little bit of Catholicism, Christianity, and then a little bit of folk magic together. That's what hoodoo
Mm-hmm.
is. So right now, mostly I try to take from what I can, the kind of the most simplest form of like candle magic, hoodoo, and things like that, and try to combine them. I don't follow any religion still. I'm not like I know like certain Wiccans that means like you are to be a quote unquote witch. I call myself, I guess, a magician. But I
Mm-hmm.
guess a lot of people believe that if you are a witch, then you are following some type of Wiccan tradition or religion or some type of religion that practices magic. But so I don't necessarily follow a religion, but I definitely follow nature and I definitely utilize nature for magic. And sometimes I create my own magical practices, which are super cool. I mean, and sometimes I combine like certain magical spells that are like, about like abundance, good luck, protection, communication with your ancestors. I try to involve my ancestors in a lot because, and that also connects with the mediumship now I can talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're able to let me know what they like. And it's, I don't know, it just feels really good to help them out to bridge that gap on the other side. I feel like the magical practice has allowed me to work through some um, karmic hooks within my lineage, so to speak, because I believe that there might be some history that I wasn't taught. You know, a lot of, especially
Sure.
being African American, not all of my family was slaves. A certain amount of my family came from Africa, and they didn't like it here during first slavery, and then they went back. But some
Mm.
of my family were slaves, and so also some of my family were Native American. So it's a lot of history that from that indoctrination and slavery and being taken over and
Mm-hmm.
subjugated, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
history and tradition is lost. And so now it doesn't mean that it can't be regained. It just means that since a line is broken, you might not be able to learn it from your predecessors that are, you know, the same blood as you. You might
Sure.
have to find it through a roundabout way, which is what I have tried to do. I feel like I have done through magic is finding my own way to do ancestor magic, which is paying homage to my ancestors, honoring them. I have like an ancestor altar.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I burn like ancestor money, which is like, it's like play money, but it's basically offering up, you know, money and abundance to that side. And also it's symbiotic because I found that they've helped me out with a lot of situations on this side. And they've even told me, you know, that they're going to help me. And I've always been like, well, I don't want to take and not receive. I definitely want this to be a give and take relationship. And also by me trying to mend that karmic debt, that I can do this for my next generation as well. It's just making a link between the ancestors, me, and the future children that I hopefully will have, so that it can be lessened, because that's a big burden, you know, having
Yeah.
to repair a lot of trauma that has been passed down through like epigenetics. I don't know if you read much about epigenetics, but it's like basically the theory that through when you enslave a whole population of people, that trauma is passed down for
Oh, right.
generations through
Right.
their genetic, through their genes, through
In
their
their cell
mitochondrial
memory.
DNA.
Yeah.
Yes, and so I
Yeah.
think that's very real, and I think it's important. I wish that more of us were taught, you know, a little bit about the what it means to revere and respect your elders, because it's more than just symbolic. It actually absolutely has everything to do with your life, you know, and
Yeah.
I think that's been lost, you know. So I definitely try to enact that within my own life, is to definitely pay respect to the elders that are alive and that are on the other side through
Yeah.
my magic.
Yeah. Well, that's beautiful. Definitely. I mean, I know most indigenous tribes, you know, practice that, right? In honoring our elders and honoring our ancestors and knowing that they have so many answers for us and that we carry their heritage within our essence, and not only our, you know, our soul, but also in our body. Yeah. So yeah, that's beautiful. Definitely. So do you help others with your magic? You know, I know you're getting a website going and a practice going and stuff like that. So, which
Yeah.
is awesome. Good for you. Yeah. So do you help others with your practice in that manner?
Yes, I have been started, you know, just friends so far, but I definitely hope to expand, just basically doing if you know, if I have a friend that is in need of it's in a stuck situation where I might not necessarily be able to offer advice without, you know, with it being understood clearly. So I
Uh-huh.
will just basically offer whatever advice I can, but then offer, hey, do you want me to set up, you know, a devotion to you at my altar? And I basically, I love it because it's helping me. I, you know, whether that's the exchange is mutual, because I feel like I get a lot out of doing that for other people, because it's still developing me at the same time. A lot of times what I will do is, you know, whether it's like prosperity magic or getting unstuck in a stagnant situation, a lot of times it involves me, you know, I also make incenses with
Mhm.
magical properties,
Oh,
and
nice.
I imbue them with the energy. I'll meditate for half an hour, which is always great for me. Like, I love any excuse to meditate. And so I love doing it. I love doing it. And I'm like, oh man, this is expanding me as well at the same time. And so it's like killing two birds with one stone, you know?
Right, right.
That. But I love being able to basically when I'll go into meditation and I will build up my own energy and cleanse myself. A lot of times I'll do a cleansing bath and try to just make a whole ritual of purifying myself so I can be an energetic conduit for this, bringing this through. But a lot of times I will visualize that energy culminating and imbue the object or whatever that petition is, whatever they're asking for, into that. And then I will also give the person something like a charm or something that I have imbued to take with them so they can carry that energy with them.
Nice.
And even with that, what I would always do after that is offer advice on how to continue this into your own life, how to empower you as the person to do this as well on a daily basis in simple ways and things like that. But yeah, I make incenses and magical oils and magical bath salts for energy cleansing and things like that.
Nice. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Yeah. Sounds like you're really moving forward.
That's right.
I know. It sounds amazing. You know, once you get started and you figure out, I've found personally, and with people I've talked to and you know and work with, and that once you get that, you make up your mind, right? Please help me if I stumble on this if you don't think it's right. But anyway, once you make up your mind about where you're going to be or what you want to do, and it sings to your heart, right? Things just start falling into place. Would you agree with that?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
And it's like, also, I think people get impatient with manifestation because a lot of the magic I do is based on manifestation as well. In my own life, the magic that I do with myself is journaling and speaking things into the future, or speaking the future like it is the present, trying to link time and space.
I call it writing your own book.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
And then basically being patient. And also, while I'm patient, I'm still not shut off to the signs and signals that the universe and the spirits will drop me. It could be such as a song, a link that'll pop up, a sentence from a friend, a phone call, an email. The messages are just everywhere. They're everywhere. And it's good to pay attention to that, because that will give you more confidence that it is actually what you put out there is on its way back. It's on its way back, and it does have that movement. I think sometimes when people work with manifestation magic, they might get impatient and impede the process through doubt.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, rather than looking at the synchronicities and taking that as confirmation that it is working, they might not know what those synchronicities look like. And so it happens and they don't even see it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That's so true.
To pay attention to that, we have more confidence in the process, and it would make the process happen faster. And then also having patience, because between the fourth, fifth dimension and this dimension, there's a lot of time that happens to where in the third dimension it's maybe a lot slower. So it could take a few months to culminate, but it doesn't mean it's not happening. It's not just, oh, it starts and then boom, it happens. There is a process, but it's happening behind the scenes. It's not necessarily in the phase, mostly because the universe wants you to experience it. It's not going to write it down for you. It wants to make that link where you have the cognizance to make that link and acknowledge the synchronicity. That's what makes it stronger.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, totally. And, like you said, 3D just moves a little bit slower. Yeah. And the journey is the important part. And also I think people have expectations on how we want that manifestation to show up, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I remember I was working with Saint Germain real closely about 20 years ago, and I'm like, when is this going to happen? When is this going to happen? Whatever it was, I can't remember. And when is this going to happen? And I just got this really clear channel in my mind, in not my voice, but was his. And he said, be careful not to focus so much on the end result, but the journey is the important part. I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exact words, but yeah, the journey is what is the important part of all of it. Yeah. So
Oh, yeah.
it's so exciting too when you see these little messages, and and of support, and that they have you and they hear you, and it starts happening, and things just start coming together. It's exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
cool.
the more you acknowledge it, the stronger it's like you're having a conversation rather than it becomes a two-way conversation
Yes.
when you continuously acknowledge it. And I've seen it get stronger. I've seen the link get stronger. I've seen it exponentially multiply the synchronicities from acknowledging it and thanking it.
Yeah, gratitude is so super important. Yeah, totally. And being open, as Abraham says, just being open to it. Because a lot of times we're not open. We ask for things and then we're not open to receiving. Being open to receiving. So
Right.
let's talk about your mediumship. So I'm happy that you're moving into that world as well. So can you share a little bit about what made you feel like this was something that you wanted to do, and your experience with it so far?
Yeah. So I've had, as a grown-up and in my teenage life, the experiences kind of change, So I talked a little bit about the first few experiences that I had with the sleep paralysis and astral projection. So as I started learning about things, and it would actually coincide with people I would meet, and then changing my lifestyle as far as my diet. That would coincide, and then fasting. It literally fasting. It take that literally, because it makes it definitely speeds up your metaphysical development. It makes you more sensitive to everything.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I would go on these things, at growing up as an adult, I became a conspiracy theorist, and I was like, I want to know about everything that has been that we've been taught that's like friends or not true. I want to go in that direction, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started learning about, conspiracy theories and things like that. Then I started learning it. That was a whole, because basically what made me want to learn about that was like, I was like, I couldn't get over the fact that humans would do something so wrong, in our
Yeah.
history. There's got to be
Yeah.
a reason. There's got to be, and then you go into it and it's like, oh man, those alien secret societies and all of this. Oh my gosh, it's like we're living in a movie.
Yep.
And
Right.
that led me,
We are.
and this led me to the Atlantis and the Lemurians. And then going in about like the fifth dimensional perspective on how to keep a high vibration in communication with these beings and stuff. And so a lot of the times when I would fast, I also went raw for a year almost. And during that time, oh my gosh, so much metaphysical growth. I wish I could do it again, man. I'm still trying, but it was so great. I would have lucid dreams all the time, and I would be visited multiple times by I would call them ascended masters. They would be teaching me how to do breath work and things in the dream. And also I would be in like astral classrooms where there was other people, groups of people being taught. It'd be like reoccurring dreams where we're doing different things in these classrooms. But and also a reoccurring thing was water being present, and diving in the water and going on, like, oh, it was just crazy. I could go on about that stuff. But yeah, after going through that, and then I got into Reiki and things like that. And the first time I was attuned to Reiki, that's when I started having really clairvoyant experiences where I would get metaphorical messages in clairvoyance. So, during Reiki, during our attunement, around the class, everybody gets attuned, and then at the end of the class, we all do a group Reiki session on one person and go. Everybody gets a turn. Well, during that, I started notice like visions, like almost like that hypnocognia that happens when you first fall into sleep. It's like, you can't make this stuff up. It's different than when you're meditating and trying to visualize. This stuff is just going and really fast. It's really fast. You don't even have time to think of the images that are showing themselves to you. I started getting that, and it started being like the messages that I would get from someone's chakra, the image would be a message. And they're like, I would just tell them what, like, oh, I've never done this before, but this is what I'm seeing, you know? And they would be like, oh my gosh, I was just talking about this the other day with my friend. Like, that makes total sense to me. And I'm like, what? This is completely random. I have no idea, you know, that this is like real, you know? But after, you know, getting into Reiki, and then I would go to different mediumship classes or group Reiki classes. And I had experiences with shamanic sound healing. I did like a year class of that, of shamanic sound healing, where we would channel sound, and we would work with a high vibrational crystal singing bowls and sound. And I just noticed that, you know, because that was based on animals, and so that was so integral to me. That connection was with animals was easier to make sometimes than my connection with my guides that come, you know, talk to me every day. So I had animal guides, and they were manifesting a lot. I mean, there was a lot of synchronicities coming from my animal guides and stuff. But yeah, that's kind of how the channeling started. And then there would be, I would have it even before that, I had it happen spontaneously, where there was just, I forgot what the word is for it, but it's basically when you speak with knowing, even though you don't know what you're saying, but you know that it's true. It's like this stream of consciousness that comes in. And I would have that, like, different flashes of that, where I just have this epiphany, and I would have this complete conversation, like write, you know, an essay, and it would be wise words that I usually, not the way that I speak. I know how I speak, right?
Yeah,
So that happened, you know, kind of in my old adult years, kind of like while this is all going on. But then coming up to now, and more recently, getting into mental mediumship, where it's like, before that was happening spontaneously, where I knew something was happening. I didn't even know what to call it, but I knew it wasn't me talking, you know, like there was other forces happening.
Yeah, trans-mediumship.
Yeah, and so getting into, at first I got into mental mediumship, where, and I'm still kind of doing that a little bit now too, but it's basically learning to blend with that spirit, and getting the personality and essence of that spirit, releasing, letting go, so you can draw that vibration in closer. And then the person, and also speaking, even though it may sound weird, that's been the hardest thing for me to get over, is to can make that energetic leak by speaking it, even though it may not make sense. You have just gotta let go.
Speak it, right? Yeah.
As soon as you do that, it will anchor. It anchors like immediately. As soon as you let go, and you're like, well, I don't know what this is, but I'm going to say it, and this doesn't make sense, and this doesn't make sense. But wait, now this does make sense. And then now it starts to get on this flow of, now you know you have this spirit, and you've got confirmation coming from the person that you are doing the reading for. So that's like the mental mediumship. And then now I'm in trans mediumship classes right now, presently. But I do alternate between mental mediumship, but my trans mediumship, I think, is where I'm going to continuously grow, because I've seen that it definitely supports mental mediumship in any type of mediumship.
Yeah.
With the trans mediumship, it's basically really just simplifying the process of just, it's all about letting go to allow the blending, and it's trying to become an expert at blending, which blending is the basis for a lot of channeling and a lot of mediumship. It is, how well can you let go to be so symbiotic with this spirit that it is there, it is in you, it is literally you. And it's been so rewarding. It's been, you know, and it's not like bang for your buck thing, where you're going to get a whole bunch of results and fill your ego. It's not about that at all. If anything, it's the opposite. It's the opposite, because you're sitting there and you're like, for a month, you're like, wait, I have not channeling yet. I'm just been sitting in this meditation, just blending. And this may seem boring, but you're actually developing your skill to become so sensitive that you can feel your aura in the next room, and the spirit in the next room. And it can, you know, even transfigurate over you and all of this stuff. And just recently, I've been able to do, like, connect that with automatic writing, and letting go enough to have a spirit speak, you know, for the first time. So it's continuously developing it, and I have no idea where it's going to end up at, but it's super interesting. Oh,
that's amazing. Yeah, I love all that. And, you know, it's, I will say that when I use blending and with channeling, people ask me, well, you know, you use it all the time when you're working with people, some kind of blending with spirit and mediumship, and as you know, and with channeling too, that people ask me, oh, you must be exhausted after doing all this. And I'm like, no, you know, I'm blending with these light beings, especially when I'm channeling ascended masters or higher beings, galactics or whatever. I feel full of light because you're blending with this light energy. And so what it does is it just raises your frequency as well, so you can find that common denominator, right? Yeah. And then you have that good connection, and the more you can let go. I love that, what you said about letting go. That's the hardest part. And
Yeah.
I know, I struggle with that too sometimes. And so, because I've never been able to, actually haven't been able to, not never, but haven't been able to yet in this lifetime, to just totally let myself go and let, you know, and be that transfiguration type of thing where I'm not totally present at all. There's always the part of me that's over here aware of what's going on. I haven't gotten to that point yet because I think transfiguration is fascinating.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I would love to be able to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But some people think it's spooky, but you know, it's a blending, right? I mean, we're all fluid and blending
Yeah.
all the time anyway. Well,
Absolutely.
Nefertiti, it's been amazing talking with you. Yeah. And so how can people get a hold of you? I'll put your information down below, just by the way. How can people get a hold of you, if you could speak it for people, if they want to, you know, maybe set up something with you or buy some of your products or something like that?
Yeah, definitely. I'm setting up the website right now, but it's going to be, I do have a domain name. It's minervascloset.net. That's what it's going to be. And then my email is definitely a good place to get a hold of me at nefi503@gmail.com.
Okay.
And then I do have a Facebook page as well under Nefertiti Porter. I'm
Okay.
trying to, I'll probably will be getting a Facebook page up soon for Minerva's Closet. But yeah, I'm just setting up the website first. But yeah, those are good ways to get a hold of me.
Yay. Okay. Well, thank you for being here. And it's always lovely, always amazing, and a
Oh,
special
thank
treat to see your beautiful face and to talk. And don't go away after I stop the recording.
you.
So
Yeah.
thank you everyone for being here today. We really appreciate you, and hopefully you're having a wonderful day. Okay.
Bye. Thank you.